Hey everybody, Cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile is here, and it is day 26 of Oscar Rewind 2024 edition, my bi-weekly series of videos where I revisit the work that reflects that of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. My hope is that you will discover a new older favorite, or maybe rediscover something you haven't seen in a while. I'll be discussing the awards history for the film, the box office information, the critical response, and as always, the reviews will be spoiler free. And as we head into the weekend, happy Friday, today I am discussing a cult classic, Channel 4 and Miramax's Trainspotting. Written by John Hodge, based on the novel by Irvine Welsh, the film was directed by Danny Boyle, his second feature film following Shallow Grave, which was also written by Hodge. Now, Trainspotting is the first film I have discussed this season where the original novel actually first inspired a very audience interactive stage play that was then adapted into this film and a different book in the series into its sequel, 2017's Trainspotting 2. Side note, I'm proud to say I have seen the live stage show both in New York and in Edinburgh. Quite entertaining. Little side plug there if you have a chance to ever see it. Now, as per Box Office Mojo, the film was released in the summer of 1996, where it made $16,491,080 domestically and shockingly only $1,414 internationally. Now, there were releases in various overseas markets over the years, so it did raise that total up. So currently, the film sits with a worldwide total of $16,841,567. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, this film sits on both ends high with critical ratings of 90% based on 96 critic reviews and an audience score of 93% based on over 250,000 reviews. Also, and I must say, after this week's earlier film, which also featured an actor in common, I am glad that I have a chance to present Ewan McGregor in a much better film. So, how did Boyle's fast paced flick make Rewind? Well, it's those joyous sounds of drug use. Just kidding. Somewhat. But it is because of the sound in the film. Trainspotting's re recording mixer, Mark Taylor, received his first credit on this film, Trainspotting. He would go on to be nominated for 6 Oscars. Of the 6 nominations, he's won 2. He won for 1917 and for Top Gun Maverick. And he was nominated this past year as part of the sound team for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, Trainspotting's awards season journey, well, many may forget because of the love for the film in its cult surroundings, this is actually an Oscar nominated film. Hodge was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. He also, for the screenplay, won the BAFTA for Best Adapted Screenplay and was nominated for the same award by the Writers Guild of America and the Scotland BAFTA Awards. Now, named one of the best films, top 10 films of 1996 by the National Board of Review, the film was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Independent Spirit Awards and Best British Film at the BAFTAs. And at the Scotland BAFTA Awards, it won Best Feature. Ewan McGregor won Best Film Actor, a nomination he also got for the MTV Movie and Film Awards, Movie and TV Awards, my apologies. And he also won the London Critics Circle Film Awards for Best Actor. Just a few highlights for the film. So, for those that may be unfamiliar with Trainspotting, it's the story of a crew of best friends. We have Mark Renton, played by McGregor, a drug addict with dreams of getting his life together. His best friend, Simon Sick Boy Williamson, played by Johnny Lee Miller, another drug addict who loves James Bond and women and is very devious. Daniel Spud Murphy, played by Ewan Bremer, who is let's say, a bumbling buffoon, but with the kindest heart. You have Francis Franco Begbie, played by Robert Carlyle, a violent alcoholic who refuses to share in his friend's drug habits, although the alcohol does take its toll on him. And Tommy McKenzie, their athlete friend and soccer lover, who also refuses to do the heroin as his friends fall prey to. Well, as best as he can. Mini spoiler there. Without too many other spoilers, this film will follow Mark and his friends as they go through their day to day and see what it's like for them to find or maintain a job, a relationship with a significant other, get along with their families, relate to each other, and just getting through the day. Now, of the crew, primarily we are following Mark. He is our narrator and his multiple attempts to go straight and clean his life up. Throughout, our group of friends will have to deal with a variety of factors such as bad one night stands, some very tragic and uncomfortable to see deaths, the HIV and AIDS epidemic, and on the minor side, shoplifting and some drug deals. Kind of interesting that I say that those are on the lower end of the higher ones. And everything, as we would expect, will come to a boiling point where, well, there is a sequel, but does everyone make it out of this one? Not telling you. Gotta go watch. I'll leave the summary there. Now, I have to say, this film doesn't follow your traditional narrative structure. But that's a benefit to the film. This is a snapshot into the lives of this group of characters, and we explore some a little bit more deeply than others. But none of these five is a throwaway. We learn about all of them. It's an interesting film. We have many scenes where we have our trio of Renton, Sick Boy, and Spud. They're getting their heroin with the help of their dealer, who is interestingly nicknamed Mother Superior. As they take their hits and eschewing random conversations on things little of importance, they then slowly collapse on the floor, disappearing into their highs. So it's kind of a slow paced effect of the drug, but this is juxtaposed by the fast moving action of the film. Because when we're not in those scenes, sometimes we're moving so frenetically fast and trying to follow these characters and what's going on. It's an interesting dichotomy, and this truly has to be a testament to the team of Brian Tufano's cinematography and Masahiro Hirakubo's editing. Tufano fills the screens with various images, that both show the reality of the settings that we're in, and then going to these extremes as we go on the trip with some of these characters. For example, see one very interesting scene that takes place in the worst bathroom in Scotland. Be sure not to have a weak stomach at this point. In all of this, Hirakubu makes very fast cuts at times as we follow this same fast-paced energy of the characters when we need it, or then sometimes just letting the camera stay still to capture certain scenes to enhance certain emotional punches. And talking about the sound, why we're here, right? Mark Taylor, along with the other re recording mixers on the film, Ray Marin and Brian Saunders, they work very well with their whole team and they really just make you feel every click of a lighter, every filling of the needles, and every injection that they give, in addition to the cacophony of other sounds that they have to imbue through this film and intermix it with the up tempo techno indie music that we get. And I assume this had to have been Boyle's intention to almost feel like you're on a bizarre drug trip. um, I'm going to go back to the performances for a minute. I probably should have talked about that sooner, but I have to say, this ensemble does a very solid job of selling the chemistry. And when they're all in it together, it just makes certain moments, when things go explosive and don't go the way they're supposed to, we get left with a little bit of an ambiguous ending that's very intense and very lived in, and that's a testament to the chemistry these characters had together, which is a credit to Boyle and the directing he did, and kudos for giving us our follow-up 20 years later. McGregor, in one of his earlier film performances, really does stand out, and to really presents an acting presence that shows why he's had the career that he's had, even if we are very much a far cry from Obi-Wan Kenobi. The film can be a bit divisive, like so many other films, some of which I've discussed. And look, this film stylistically won't appeal to all. In fact, the sequel is stylistically a little bit different. So, a side note, a friend of mine saw the first and saw the second and preferred the second for the structure and the style. So, it's interesting. But from my critical standpoint, when you look at what they're trying to do, the plot of the film they're trying to say, and this rapid pace, everything works solidly well. The acting, the technical elements, the design, it all melds together for a beautiful 5-star film for me. More than just a look at somatics, we get a slice of the life of the lower middle class in Edinburgh. They take us on a journey, and, like the title says, we even get a chance to do a little train spotting with them. Real thing. Now, if you would like to watch Train Spotting, or, and I will be this bold, correct one of your cinema sins by checking it out, as of this recording and posting, it is streaming with ads on Pluto, or if you want to go ad free, you can rent it on most digital platforms. Also, I will say this while not as frenetic as the first, the sequel is also worth checking out. If you do both, the sequel is only available on digital rental platforms. So there you have it. I hope everyone is enjoying Oscar Rewind. I haven't asked this in a while, but is there a film you're hoping I'm going to get to? Let me know in those comments. We're moving through this season. We're getting to be about a third of the way there. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to the channel, spread the words, get more into the conversation. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Remember to check out my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find exclusive reviews of additional films, new releases coming this weekend: Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and The Watchers. Happy watching, everyone, and until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.